like to call now Guillaume Fontaine, who is presenting a special issue that just came out as well in Journal of Comparative Public Policy Analysis. Is this good? Is this good? Yeah. Okay.
Also, it's a hammer actually. If you still have a little bit of juice, I'd just like to present you this special issue. I'm glad Les came before because mine is not such a fancy PowerPoint as his. I don't even have the the cover. Okay, I have the title. Ideas are everything in that issue. So the idea. More than a special issue, it's a process to gather people who are interested in doing comparative policy analysis in Latin America. As a matter of fact, I am always very curious of knowing how people do comparison, and I can see that we have a lot of potential in Latin America, and by this I include all kind of cultures from South America, Central America, and the Caribbean, because particularly we share a lot of common factors that precisely are defining the policy process. So I think it's part of my mission on Earth to gather people, and especially because I'm not Latin American, I can speak this way, and I can be like a missionary, except that I'm not on a ideological mission. Well, if methods is not ideological. So the idea of the special issue is to make Latin America a case of study, and we wanted to have a reflection with the co-editors Guy Peters and Jose Luis Mendes about substance and methods in the comparative policy analysis, because there is actually a lot of confusion in the literature with comparative politics, which is basically about substance. We'd rather focus on the methodological aspects of comparative politics, and that's how we chose the papers. So we launched the call for paper in 2014. We had some 30 proposals, selected 15, and we gathered people in Quito in 2015. And that was a very nice workshop, by the way. It was 3 days. Well, apart from the climate and the place, we really had a very nice conversation, very good discussions. One of the things that I think we have to develop and to improve, such as in this event, is to make deep discussion about papers, like the ECPR workshops, or like what we're going to do with the EPA workshops. That is not the 10 minutes presentation, which is basically another kind of exercise, but rather a discussion, 1 hour, 90 minutes per paper, so that the authors can really take advantage of the comments and make their point. So that's what the workshop was about. And if you want just to, thank you. So that's basically the contents. There's a paper reflecting on the substance and methods, as I was saying in the introduction. And then there are case studies. All are small n comparative case studies. That's one of the flaws of the special issue, is that we could not have a good paper with large n comparison. And another flaw is that the Brazilian paper didn't pass the selection, so we don't have a paper on Brazil, which is a pity, because Brazil is obviously a very important point when it comes to comparing with other countries, and I think there's a tradition in Brazil of comparative studies. So there's a study on paradigm shift in Bolivia and Peru around the gas policy in Bolivia and Peru. There's a paper on higher education reforms in Colombia and Ecuador. There's a discussion about social security in the Southern Cone, especially Chile and Uruguay. There's another paper on foreign prescriptions, which is the closest to the debates from this conference, in Argentina and Chile. and the paper on how do you say, longitudinal comparison. That's government to government on the energy reform in Mexico. And the final word on that, the idea was not to make uniformization. We were not looking for common points and like the same structure for each paper. We let people be creative. And that's something I think it's important to discuss, because I'm not, well, as I said, I'm a missionary, but I'm not a fanatic. I'm not a warrior for comparison. And I know this kind of dogmatic positions in comparative policy, especially coming from the neo-positivist group. And that was absolutely not our intention, so that we will let people just talk. And you have some very actually interpretive comparison, like the paper on education in Colombia and Ecuador, and some much more quantitative papers like the Chile and Uruguay, who's basically on political economy of the social security in this country. So the spectrum is large, and it's free. So please go and download it, because it's very expensive. We have 2 months to spread it out. So take advantage. The link is here, but you can always find 10fonline.com, and you can have access of the number 22. Oh, great. But I don't know. Well, anyway, you can just download it and spread the voice, and hopefully make another special issue. We had one author from Brazil a few years ago, Marta Farah from Fundación Getúlio Vargas in São Paulo, who actually gathered 3 or 4 papers on public policy in Brazil. I think it was the topic of the issue. But I think there's much more to do, and welcome if you want to participate. Thank you.